Buenos días. Bienvenido a la Iglesia Unitaria Universalista de la Mission Shawnee. Quien quiera que seas, quien quiera que ames, donde quiera que estás en la viaje de tu vida, eres bienvenido aquí. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Shawnee Mission Unitarian Universalist Church. Whomever you are, whoever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. We are so happy you have chosen this YouTube channel, this Sabbath, this sanctuary and time. We know that you have so many options on Sunday morning, and that you chose to be here with us is something that we celebrate. We extend an especially warm welcome to our visitors today and anyone who is watching the service online for the first time. Please complete our Get in Touch online form by clicking the link in our video description. We now welcome everyone to greet each other in any way you possibly can. Elbows if you're here, and if you're joining us online, please say hi in the chat.
Ben.
Reverend Rose has a few announcements for us.
Good morning. First of all, welcome, kids. Yay. This is a very special morning because it is the first time that we have been able to worship together as an intergenerational community. I think this morning is a lesson for us on this particular place in our COVID journey as a church, because even though the church has been open, there are so many aspects of our community that have been on hold. Thus, I invite you to delight with us as aspects of our church slowly return as they are deemed safe. I invite you to join us as we slowly get our wings beneath us, because there are signs of life. For example, Green Guitar Folk House 2 weeks ago was standing room. The shelter is functioning smoothly and beautifully. We have our sanctuary back open for the children, and our path towards our mission just keeps on unfolding. The COVID cases are hopefully going to continue going down so that we can slowly start reintroducing safe and thoughtful ways for our community to gather, because we will continue to put safety of the most vulnerable at the heart of our every decision, even as the church slowly reopens. We are proud to have considered ourselves the safest room in the Kansas City metro area throughout the COVID time, and we're not about to stop. Now, kiddos, I understand that you have not been in this space for almost 2 years. Some of you have never worshiped with us in this space. But before we go any further, I want to just remind you that this space is a special space. So when we come into the sanctuary, it's almost like we're putting on a new outfit of our most beautiful clothing. And so in this space, we're a little bit different. We sit quieter, we breathe, we communicate with our parents if we need something, but it's also your space to be free and be happy. We're so glad that you're here. And now I have two exciting announcements. The first is that choir practice will resume on March 23rd, sorry, yes. The new music director will be starting on March 27th. Yes. And secondly, we have hired our very own Kevin Roberts. Kevin, if you would stand up. Give us a wave. Kevin will be advising our incredible youth program here at SMUUCh, and we are so excited to resume this programming. So if you have a 9th through 12th grader, this is your person. These youth of ours have been hit hard by the pandemic, missing years of high school, and so if anyone has an interest in this incredible and unique Unitarian Universalist youth programming, please let me or Patrice or Kevin know. And now please rise as you are willing and able for our opening hymn, number 346.
As Kaylin Brazil comes forward to light our chalice, we invite you to join us as we recite our covenant. Love is the doctrine of this church, the quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with one another. Thank you. Each month, we as a community take time to reflect on a theme. The children do this in their classrooms, and we do this here in worship and in our small Soul Matters groups. This month, the theme is renewing our faith. Recently, I noticed a grocery store ad promoting rewards points for all purchases except alcohol, tobacco, and lottery tickets. Stores cannot entice customers, especially minors, to buy these products that could lead to overuse or abuse. These helpful exceptions to the rule made me wonder, what if we were equally rewarded for helpful social behavior? In this alternative reality, the focus would shift away from being dutiful consumers in a transactional culture and far away from the demeaning but unspoken power dynamics wielded by those with white privilege. Incentives and rewards would focus instead on displaying affirming traits like humility, generosity, and empathy, which benefit everyone. What if we got intangible but socially powerful rewards points for being thoughtful neighbors, engaged citizens, anti-racists, or climate activists? What if we felt the warm glow of another's gaze when we called out a racial slur or microaggression, or when we took a step toward removing the inequities in our economic and legal systems? I know doing the right thing only comes with a guaranteed reward in this utopian universe. More likely, we labor in obscurity, wondering if our efforts really matter. The good news is that we can conjure up internal incentives and rewards to keep ourselves and, in turn, each other going. I was taught by my elders to treat everyone with dignity and respect. One way I do this is by looking into another's eyes and really listening to their story of pain and struggle. My reward is to be inspired by their defiance or their sense of humor, by their sheer will to survive in a world that can be unkind. We have all heard the proverb, necessity is the mother of invention, which is actually based on Plato's original words, our need will be our creator. Our need will be our creator. One Iowa town embraced these words of wisdom. West Liberty, a town of 3,700, is the state's first majority Hispanic town in an overwhelmingly white state. Unlike many other small Midwestern towns that are slowly dying, West Liberty has benefited from Latino immigrants who immigrated there in the 1930s and whose families are now in their 5th and 6th generations. West Liberty schools have the first voluntary dual language program in the state, which allows students to become bilingual, biliterate, and bicultural. While the town is not a bicultural utopia, it is an encouraging example of neighbors having both an incentive and a reward for embracing racial diversity. Let's renew our faith together here at Shawnee Mission Unitarian Universalist Church as we connect with kindred spirits and are reminded that our actions for racial and LGBTQ equality, climate change, and human kindness really do matter. Virtue is its own reward.
I'm so excited to do a time for all ages in person again. So, yay! So I would love to invite any kiddos of all ages, 0 to 100, that would like to come up here and sit with me. And if you do, you get a special surprise at the end. And maybe I can get Miss Shannon and Miss Brittany. Or and don't worry, you don't have to talk or anything if you don't want to. Just wanted to have you all sit up here so I can see your beautiful faces. Thank you. Yay, what a beautiful turnout. Thank you all for coming. Okay, so today I want to talk to you about rocks, because I love rocks. And Reverend Rose's theme this service is everywhere you go. So I want to talk to you about how I take a rock everywhere I go, and why. First, I want to ask, has anybody ever had a rock as a pet? Yes! I love it. They're like the easiest pets to take care of, right? So, I have rocks to share with you all from this special bag Rev Rose gave me. And I'm going to share them. Thank you, Rev Rose. Pass them out when we talk about them. Okay, so my first rock. I can take them all out. Thank you, Vanna White. For my first rock, I brought up lepidolite. So it's very, what do you call it? Soft. It's been tumbled, so it's kind of like feels like a river rock. And I take this a lot of places. Do you want to hold it and pass it down? Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Feel the energy. So I actually am a very anxious person. So I use this rock a lot because I take it and I put it in my pocket, and it helps with my anxiety in many different ways. First of all, I actually believe that rocks hold energy. Example is this lepidolite, which is beautiful. It's purple, has great color. It's supposed to be harmonizing for the mind, body, and soul, which I definitely need when I'm a little stressed. But even if you don't believe in the energy that rocks hold, there are so many other things it holds. I actually like the feeling. It keeps my hand busy, just kind of like a fidget spinner, right? But it's a natural fidget spinner. And that's one of the best things why I use it. And also, I just feel like it connects me to nature at all times. I don't know about you, but nature's kind of like my sanctuary. So I like to have it with me. I also have been given rocks by people I love. This is actually a jasper heart. Oh, you did. Thank you. For example, I was given to this by a really close friend because she knows I love rocks. And so every time I use this one, which I don't know why, but I take it a lot when I fly, I think of her and her kindness and lovingness. So it's a beautiful memory I carry. It can also be a souvenir that you find. When I lived in Ethiopia, I had a friend that actually found a volcanic rock in Ethiopia, of all places, which is very desert-like, sub-Saharan. And he still has that rock today. And this is a volcanic rock. Thank you, Rev Rose. And my friend actually went and visited Hawaii, and she brought me back a lava rock. So it could be that one. I have two. And what she did is because she, too, has a very natural connection to Earth, she made sure to ask the land and the rock if she could take it. I actually like to do that, too, especially if I feel called to a rock. And when I take a rock, same with my friend, I always give them an offering. So I usually do, or Rev Rose says their partner does, they give a piece of hair to the land. Alrighty. I also like to return the favor and give rocks to people because I love them so much, and they're an easy treat, and I think just showing that you're thinking about them. And I actually, when I went to Cuba, swam pretty far out in the ocean and found some shells. And shockingly enough, I was able to bring them back, and I still have them with me, and I gave them to some of my very close friends. How cool is that? I have a shell from Cuba, like my homeland, basically. Something else you can do with rocks, which I know I have a friend here who likes to do, is stack rocks. It's very meditative, and Rev Rose, maybe she can show us. It's very meditative and calming, and I just think it's very enjoyable. You can do it in nature too. A lot of people do it. It's art, it's beautiful. You're struggling, Rev Rose? I know. You got it? She's trying. These are also hard rocks that I gave her. Yeah, no one looking. But just let's remember, if we are stacking rocks in nature, critters also need rocks. Some live under them, some hide under them, they find food under them. So just be careful when you do that. Oh, yay, Rev Rose! Sometimes I actually feel called to rocks. Have you ever seen a rock on the ground and you were just like, oh my gosh, that is beautiful. I need to take that? I felt that too, but not very often, especially in national parks and stuff. I try to leave the land as is because it's part of the ecosystem. But I do like to do what is called nature as oracle with rocks. So what that means is you ask a question just to nature. You can put it inside your head, say it out loud. And while you're thinking of this question, you go outside in search of a rock that you feel called to, or that's actually calling to you. And once you find this rock, which I've done before, you ask the rock the question. And then you just look at the rock. These are kind of little, so we can't really do it. You look at the rock and find things in it and interpret it. These rocks are smart. They've been here for thousands and thousands of years. They must know lots of stuff, right? So, what Rev Rose has for you today is a specialty of different types of rocks. We have like marbles, what I call dragon tears, and even a couple of these joys and sorrows if you want to get it. So what I want to ask is, anybody have a question that they would want to ask their rock? You can say it out loud. I can give you the microphone, or you can just think about it in your head and you can grit your rock. Why I did the glass ones is because I really want sea glass, and I'm trying to manifest this. So that is going to be my question. When can I have sea glass? Does anybody want to ask a question? Yes!
When will Rachel, what's her last name? What's Rachel's last name?
I'm Patrice.
No, I know that.
Oh, Rachel McElhaney?
Yes,
Okay.
Rachel McElhaney get her call to go to St. Louis to get her double lung transplant.
That is a really good question. Thank you for asking that. Does anybody? It's a surprise, I think. Yeah. Maybe Rachel can ask that question at home to a rock.
Thank you for asking.
Yes, thank you. Does anybody else want to share a question that they would want to ask a rock? Okay.
I know you have them.
Oh, Evan, maybe? Come on.
What type they are.
Oh, I'm sure they would tell you. Nice, nice.
Who else has a question?
Yes, you count. Children of all ages.
What wisdom do you have to share with me?
Beautiful. I do find rocks to be very wise. And think about the rocks from Frozen, right? They were alive, right? They had lots of wisdom. Or they were like boulders. So we're going to hand out you each a rock, and of course, you don't.
But before we do that, I need you all to think of a question in your head. You don't have to say it, but I want you to think of a question that you have right now. It might even be, am I going to get cake? It's whatever it is. So I want you to raise your hand when you have your question. You guys got a question? Okay. Anybody want to share their question? You do?
Get one for my sister.
Yeah, you can get one for your sister. Okay. Okay, so as I give you the rock,
And there's plenty, so take the one that feels called to you. Oh, Joy brought her own rock. Sorry. I just busted you out. And she stacked them. So what do we have here? Amethyst.
Amethyst and lapis.
Lapis lazuli.
I forgot what the other one was. Mom, what was the other one?
Lapis lazuli. Oh yeah, hematite.
Hematite.
Thank you. So you always have one too. All right, everybody, if you want to take your rocks, put them in your pocket, and go back to your areas. I do have a challenge for everybody. Maybe this week, if you're outside walking in nature, just look to see if there are any rocks that call to you, and if you have a question or don't.
So now that you have your rocks, kiddos, I'm going to invite you to do this with your hands, kids of all ages. One hand in your lap, another hand on top of it, because this is the time in our service where we take a second to breathe, center in, where we draw to heart and mind those in our midst who are suffering and those who feel the sweet relief of their burdens easing. Today we think of the people of Ukraine again, who are suffering humanity's worst. We draw to heart and mind all of those whose lives have been touched by war, those who are astounded to their knees at the quickness of loss, but also of the swift response of those ready to do the heavy lift of caring, receiving, loving. May every scared wanderer be treated with warmth. May the child be soothed, the hungry fed, the vulnerable protected. We also think of Olathe East. We grieve for the community as they struggle to understand next steps, and for those whose lives have been forever changed. We hold our own children close, lifting them up and teaching them to be brave, loving humans, to use their voices and their art and their intelligence to lead our world towards peace and love. Let us be grateful then for this day unmarred by war, for this nourishing air, these dense bodies in the company of kind souls, the safety of this room, the kindness in this space, the ability that we have to live in complex, incredible and devastating times. If so much that is precious can be so easily lost, let us more dearly cherish all that remains and rejoice over the exquisite beauty in this world, as small or life-changing as each piece of beauty might be. I now invite you to come forward and briefly share a rare joy or a profound sorrow and light a candle.
I'm Jennifer Nelson. I'm lighting a candle of gratitude for all the doctors and nurses and technicians who helped make my mom's hip replacement a resounding success. She has almost no pain. I can't believe the difference. And a candle of hope for my dad. He meets with the surgeon tomorrow, and I hope he can get some similar relief.
I'd like to light a candle of gratitude for my Aunt Kay, who has found a new place to live after losing her home.
I'd like to, of course I get a frog in my throat when I come up here to talk. I'd like to light a candle of sorrow, sorrow and concern about a former neighbor in Parkhurst Addition who just suffered, the couple just suffered the loss of their 20-year-old son in a double murder suicide in their home the other night. Just like you'd all keep them in your thoughts.
I light these remaining candles for all the joys and sorrows that remain unspoken in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. And now, if any child would like to come up and put a stone in the water and let us know your joy or your sorrow, here we have some rainbow rocks. I know, very tempting. See some of you standing. Nobody wants to put a rock, hear it plop in the water? Oh, welcome. Come on up here. Everyone's looking around like, are we doing it? Are we not doing it? All right, Tavo, would you like to share your joy or sorrow or just put a rock in? Okay. Evan, would you like to share your joy or sorrow or just put a rock in? Okay. Would you like to share your joy or sorrow or just put a rock in? Would you like to share? She's thinking about it while she puts it in, though. That's good. All right, we'll put these two stones in for all the joys and the sorrows that remain unspoken in the silent sanctuaries of our children's hearts. And now I'd like to do something that I think is important, especially in moments of stress and anxiety that I think a lot of the globe is facing right now, in sorrow and solidarity with people who are really going through very difficult times, and maybe some of us who are going through difficult times. So we're going to do a blessing of the body. So I'm going to invite you to put your feet flat on the floor. Close your eyes. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Breathing deeply into your belly like it's a balloon filling with water. Throughout this blessing, I'm going to invite you to take your hand and place it over your heart. We did this a lot when people were in quarantine to remind us that even when we are alone, we are with ourselves. We're not actually alone, and that we can do things with our body that bring us great peace, pleasure, warmth, rest, heat. This blessing takes one look at you, and all it can say is holy. Holy hands, holy face, holy feet, holy everything in between. Holy even in pain, holy even when weary, in brokenness, holy, in shame, holy still. Drawing your attention to a space in your body where you have tension or pain. Holy in delight, holy in distress, holy when being born, holy when we lay it down at the hour of our death. So friends, look with your mind's eye, your holy eyes for one moment. See what this blessing sees, this blessing that knows how you are knit in wonder and in love. Taking a deep breath and drawing your attention to a space in your body where you have no pain. Maybe that's just your skin, maybe that's your smile. Welcome this blessing that folds its hands when it meets you. Receive this blessing that kneels in reverence before you, you who are temple, sanctuary, home for the sacred in this world. Take a second to really feel that hand on your heart, giving yourself gratitude and love, thanking your body. Blessing your own body with your own solidarity, kindness, compassion, and attention. Let the corners of your lips turn up, and you may open your eyes as we sing our meditative hymn, When I Breathe In.
Our reading today comes from Mary Oliver. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over prairies and deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things.
These times are hard on a body. Draw to mind this image seen on the news this week. A car, a woman in the driver's seat, her child in her lap, an older one asleep in the back, all caught in a standstill of traffic on their flight towards the border. On the dashboard, she has taped small effigies, images of saints and wise men, their faces hovering before a golden background, geometric glowing halos framing their faces, staring straight ahead with a hand in a mudra, blessing these people on their journey from their war-torn country. These effigies are a reminder that there is a space of hope, that there is a connection available for this woman. These are the little breadcrumbs that we leave ourselves, the lifelines that we give ourselves to remember who we are, where we've come from, who loves us, and that there is goodness to come. Now, this is surely an image that has played 1,000 times over as the world has turned. People who could pack nothing before they could leave, only to bury something in the forest, gather their children and their most precious possessions, which for this woman meant sacred effigies. Her touchstones, the physical manifestations of hope, a place to pour it all out, to ground, to reconnect, items that this woman brought with her everywhere that she may go. But it's not just times of great turmoil in which we yearn for these reminders. Today, we have with us our own sacred objects. We have our rocks in our pockets. We have our lockets. We have our wedding rings. We have our pens and pencils. Who knows what other physical reminders we have with us that we adorn ourselves with. Everywhere we may go. In fact, I remember one of the most powerful items that someone ever gave me was when I was in Boston doing my ministry defense. I was staying in a UU collective house, and the morning I was to leave, the residents met me in the doorway and pinned a safety pin to my scarf as a reminder that I don't have to hold it all together alone. And that pin is still on that scarf. We have these objects, teddy bears or letters, that connect us to something that seems so far away. For there are times in all of our lives when we do have a real thirst for a connection to what is holy. And in times of drought, like probably this woman in the car and many people who face war experience, that water is shallow. These are moments when we find ourselves very uncomfortable in the world. So today I want to tell you a story about what we can do when we feel that sense of being lost, frightened, or scared, when all that is safe seems very far away and we're seeking a connection. And our story is actually about a little kid, like many of you kiddos out there, who also happens to be a raccoon. Like many of us when we were little, this little baby raccoon is very scared to leave its mother and go to school because he has a fun and familiar life in the forest where he knows all the trees and the creeks, and he has his special little rocks that he keeps in his special little stump, and he's afraid that when he goes to school, that will mean that suddenly he'll be in a completely new place with completely new things, and who would play with him? Where would he rest? Now, his mother tried to explain to him that things that seem strange or even scary will eventually pass, and that sometimes things that are hard end up opening doors down the road, but the little raccoon was not convinced. So the mama raccoon said, "You know what? I have a secret I'd like to share with you. It's a secret that my mom told me and her mom told her, and it's called the kissing hand." The baby raccoon said, "The kissing hand, what's that?" And the mama took his little hand, spread all 5 fingers into a fan, leaned forward, and kissed him right on the palm. The little raccoon felt her kiss rush up his hand and all the way up his arm into his heart. Even his silky black mask tingled with a special warmth. "Now," she said, "whenever you feel lonely and need a little love from home, just press your own hand to your cheek and think, 'I am loved, I am loved.' And that kiss will jump right off your hand and go into your cheek and make your thoughts all toasty warm." The little raccoon loved his kissing hand. He knew then that his mother's love could go with him anywhere. So the next day, as he waited to go to his first day of school, he turned to his mom and said, "Give me your hand." He took her hand in his own and folded her large, familiar fingers into a fan, kissed her palm, and said, "Now you have a kissing hand too." I tell you this story because when we think about things that come with us everywhere we may go, the thing that is always with us is our body. And especially at this time, when there is such a sense of collective unsafety in the body with the pandemic, climate, and international unrest, I really wonder what could happen if we set our sights on the development of connection to our source through and within our bodies. Because in fact, we are all in full possession of a self-soothing machine. Because amazingly, our brains, get this, believe it or not, are part of our bodies. So even imagining a kiss on the warmth of your palm gives your body a warm feeling. And similarly, when we take a deep breath, it changes our thought patterns. Because your system is working together in, frankly, a miraculous harmony to keep you at your best, even without your bidding. As Sonia Renee Taylor, author of The Body is Not an Apology, The power of radical self-love reminds us an acorn does not have to say, I intend to become an oak tree. No, natural intelligence is such that every living thing becomes the highest form of itself, and we have evolved accordingly. So yes, objects come and objects go. Although they are powerful reminders, it's the silent sanctuaries in our hearts that can always be the most constant place of hope, of connection available to us. Because our bodies do and could never leave us. Indeed, perhaps embodiment practices are the lifelines. They are the trails of breadcrumbs that we sprinkle for ourselves to remember who we are and where we've come from. In fact, I invite you to listen to this famous Torah passage, which is meant to be addressed to God. But how would it feel to listen to this passage as though you were speaking to your own body, as if it were holy? Where can I go from you? Where can I flee your presence? If I become enlightened, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. You will hold me fast. I invite us to take joy in the possibility that our bodies could be our most deeply connected touchstone, and to actually bless our bodies in their intense beauty and strength and intelligence, and to really work intentionally to develop a healthier relationship in which we are not alone when we are with our bodies. Instead, we are with an incredibly consistent friend. Think of your first moment in the morning. How do you say thank you to your body in the morning? When you are in school, how do you say thank you to your body? When you are at work, how do you say thank you to your body? In church, how do you say thank you to your body? Each of us has a body that is perfectly unique. And so what you need to do to thank your body on your journey is yours. But I do really believe that if we start with gratitude and blessing and acknowledgement of our bodies as holy, that if we make the move to actual practices of caring for ourselves in our embodied states, doing the breath work, doing that heart hand, doing your tapping, resting, exercise, eating, that these holy and most central tasks will actually move us through so much fear, newness, and restlessness. Let us then just let the soft animal of our bodies love what they love. Because really, whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world does offer itself to your imagination. So in that same vein, I invite you to imagine how you might think of your body as having been offered to you for your imagination. How could you imagine that you might rely on your body more to calm you, to give you pleasure, to soothe you, to love you, and to support you? And in that harmony, I in turn invite you to make moves to love your body more, to do what you know you should do. Bless this body, for it goes everywhere everywhere you may go, and it has certainly blessed you. Blessed be, and amen. And now today is our first Donate the Plate. So I'm going to invite Patrice up to give us a little talk about where our Donate the Plate is going to before we take the offering, and you'll be getting a reverse offering.
First, I want to share we're kind of doing Donate the Plate this time around differently so that we can incorporate our kiddos as well. So every other month, our kiddos are going to vote on what organization we should donate the plate to, and then the other months that go along with it, we choose. So this month, Drum was chosen. Diverse, Revolutionary, Unitarian, Universalist, Multicultural Ministries, Drum, is a Unitarian Universalist people of color ministry, an anti-racist collective of lay and religious leaders. Together, we work to overcome racism through resistance and transform Unitarian Universalism through our multicultural experiences. This is sacred work that shapes our UU faith and is part of a larger sacred vision that has theological depth and makes room for spirit. Drum understands that a primary reason that we are subjugated and movements for universal liberation are defeated is because we are systemically divided and made to compete against one another in our efforts. We commit, then, to showing up against all forms of oppression as we would those forms that directly impact our own individual selves. In recognizing our systemic oppression and woundedness, we work together towards personal and social transformation by providing sacred space to heal from internalized racism and other oppressions. By honoring the suffering, grieving, and letting go, we engage in emotional release and catharsis, seeking self-care, a safe and supportive community, and allies. We work together towards collective liberation and healing. Drum has a growing membership of UU people of color from every district and region in the Unitarian Universalist Association. SMUUCh has created a Midwest Drum chapter that meets every other Thursday, and we started this right when the pandemic began and have been doing it since. We have members that join us in Zoom from Kansas, Kentucky, Illinois, Missouri, Nebraska, and of course our own people here from SMUUCh. We have recently started offering a national monthly meeting in collaboration with National Organization of Drum as well. Drum organizes community building events, leadership training, and is an advocate with the UU Association of Congregations. Our community ministry with Black, Indigenous, and people of color in Unitarian Universalism relies on the generous financial contributions of members and friends. I currently serve on the advisory board of Drum. I really appreciate having this group to speak to, have the community with all these experiences we share. It has been a pivotal part of my UU life and career. They offer monthly Drum newsletters, have different community spaces, trainings for Drum and friends. They even present at General Assembly and have a caucus at General Assembly. And my favorite that I like to utilize is our Slack channel. So please look up Drum and see how you like it. They're also in coordination with Blue Black Lives UU.
The work of the church depends on us, our generosity of time, wisdom, and financial resources. And today, as we know, the Donate the Plate goes to Drum. We invite you to give generously to support the ongoing work of the church, and the offering will now be given and received in grateful appreciation of our shared values. As we extinguish the chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment, these we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Please rise as you are willing and able for our closing hymn, a kid favorite, Everywhere, Everywhere You May Go. This week, thank you, first of all, everyone, children of all ages, for a longer worship service, making space for our children. I bet you all now need to go get your wiggles out. This week, I invite you to be kinder to your body. Go in peace.
Thank you.